Good day. My name is Fumani Mboweni from the Department of Higher Education and Training. In South Africa, we have decided to transform the way we train artisans. We call it the A21, which is the apprenticeship of the 21st century. We have decided to adopt the dual system for training apprentices. Dual simply means two. In the context of artisan training, dual simply means combining the training that takes place at a vocational school or a TVET college with authentic work experience that takes place at a workplace in an integrated single program. The college is responsible for the theory and workshop practical training, whilst the workplace is where the apprentice is exposed to and participates in real productive work. The dual system creates a very high level of integration between learning and doing, and the rotation between learning in the college and doing at the workplace may, in some cases, be as rapid as every 2 to 3 days. A social dialogue arrangement exists between South Africa and the European Union. One of its objectives is to promote dual system apprenticeships. I was tasked to visit 3 countries in Europe to see how they implement apprenticeships in those countries. I visited Austria, Germany, and Poland. This video summarizes what I have learned in those countries. In this video, we will get an insight from those countries on how the dual system works in practice, when can an employer participate in the dual system, how often does the apprentice rotate between the college and the workplace, how is workplace learning actually structured and how is it done, the curriculum, how and by who is it developed, how does the apprentice qualify as an artisan? Who are the key social partners and how do they cooperate? How well does the system work for each participant? So, how does the dual system work? In Austria, a young person will complete 9 years of formal schooling, where after he or she will enter a pre-vocational school for 1 year and thereafter commence with artisan training for 3 years. The dual system in Germany works very similarly, in that 2/3 of the learners progress from general education into the dual system, and once certificated, the young person enters the labor market. This is echoed in the Polish education system, although the engagement of a juvenile worker is very strongly regulated and controlled by the Department of Education and the Labor Code in Poland. This dual system is well described by Jolanda Kosakowska from the Polish Craft Association.
Young people learn the trade, the profession, directly in the craftsman's workshop. And such a craftsman or person would offer this young person a practical, hands-on teaching, which result in his or her acquiring capabilities and skills. The program of hands-on occupation learning takes place. So you learn in the process of conducting your work, but on top of this, a young person, a student, would also go to school for 3 years, learning the general subjects to pass the school finals exam. So a dual system would be comprised of a theory taught at school by a teacher and hands-on experience gathering not in a school workshop but in a regular craftsman's workshop, which allows the guild member, the craftsman, to teach a young apprentice competencies.
Central to the dual system is the apprentice. Is the apprentice an employee or is the apprentice a learner? This is important as the entity that controls the apprentice to a large extent has a stronger voice. Asked if the apprentice has an apprenticeship contract with the employer first, we found differences between the countries and all systems had both in one form or the other.
In Austria, all apprentices have an apprenticeship contract before they start their training. It's not possible to start without a contract.
But an apprentice cannot simply have a contract with any employer. Employers need to meet certain criteria first.
And also we have, if a company is now saying, I want to train, then they have to get an accreditation. It's not that every company can just train, because they have to have a trainer in the company who's qualified, and they have to show that they can train the different competences.
There's a particular view in our country that says teenagers are not ready to work. What's your view on that? Why is it that your companies are willing to take teenagers into a working environment?
I think if you give the teenagers a responsibility within the company, you will see that the teenagers are able to master this responsibility and to take the challenge, so to say.
And in Germany, the following comment was made.
Many of the companies are not able to train apprentices because they have no conditions. Formerly, from the 19,000 companies that we have, 11,000 could do training. The others are too small. They do not have enough human resources to do vocational training, or they are just one-person companies who do not need any other staff or employees.
On the matter of how frequently the apprentice rotates between the college and the workplace, it became very clear that there are many different permutations even within a country. Much depends on the specific arrangements between stakeholders within a specific occupational trade.
It differs a little bit from the apprenticeship occupation. We have in Austria 200 different jobs who are trained in a dual apprenticeship training, more or less. So the most of them, it's like 1 or 2 days a week in the company, in the school, in the vocational school, and 3 days in the company. Or it's organized in a block, 6 weeks block in the school, and then 3 months in the company. It depends a little bit also in the area of Austria. If you're in Vienna, it's easy to get to the school because it's close by to the company. When it's in Tyrol, in the Alps with mountains, it's maybe difficult, so the company is far away from the vocational school, so it's easier to organize it in blocks.
And this is what a recently qualified artisan from Germany, Marcel Thoma, had to say about the rotation between the college and the workplace.
In the first year, I went 2 times a week to the school, and from the second year on, I was there once per week in the school. On average, it should be about 50 school days per year.
Let us consider how the workplace learning is structured. In Austria and Germany, we found that there are national structures that are established to determine how the competencies for each trade or profession are structured within the workplace. In Poland, things are less structured, with a much stronger role played by the colleges up front.
To ensure that all the company's interests and that you really know what you're going to teach in the company is represented in the so-called Federal Advisory Board on Apprenticeship. That means there are 6 people coming from the chamber side representing businesses in this committee, and 6 people coming from the employee side sitting there representing the employees' interests. And these committee or these meetings, they define exactly the curricula of the apprenticeship training. And what is really important, the employee side is also observing that the quality is fulfilled. So we have all there, we have minimum standards, what the company has to fulfill. They can't just train whatever they want. They have a curricula which is designed and they have to follow that.
Well, you know that in the dual system, a part of the learning is done in the companies, and that is in the process of work. And that means working of an apprentice in a company is always working and learning together. And it is a great challenge for the companies to give the apprentices that type of work which is important and helpful for the company as well as good for the development of the competencies of the apprentices. The so-called cooperation of the learning places. That is the idea that the trainers in the companies and the teachers at the schools meet coordinate their work quite closely as to what should be learned and when as well. So to make this match. And of course that is a very difficult process which doesn't work out always, but that is the goal.
In South Africa, we are currently on a big drive to develop appropriate curricula for our occupational qualifications. How is that done in the 3 countries I visited? How is it developed, by whom, and how is it aligned?
So in this Federal Advisory Board of Apprenticeships, where the curricula is designed, there are the experts of the business community sitting with also somebody from the Ministry of Education, and then they design the curricula together. It's really important that the demand, which subjects or which competences are needed, is coming from the business, because you can't know that if you're sitting in the Ministry of Education and don't have any connects to the working world. You can't know what is needed exactly.
Well, it's for the company part that I described for the federal level before. The input is given by the social partners. It's a complex process which develops the curricula, and then the federal state rules them. And then we try to adjust this to the schools to make it match.
Our artisans qualify by doing a trade test. Let's see how these countries do it. In Germany, the Chamber of Trade and Industry is responsible for the assessment of apprentices, and they issue the final certificates. Even at the vocational school, representatives of unions and employers sit on the examination board.
We take the exams to complete the apprenticeship, which we organize as well, and then later on in the exam committees we have representatives of the workers, of the employees and teachers of the vocational schools.
However, all of this does not simply happen by itself. There are well-defined social partners and they have to cooperate. Mr. Holbel of the Ministry for Digital and Economic Affairs in Austria had the following to say about the legal framework and the social partner structures.
We have the dual system means in Austria that you have this dual principle in nearly every level. So on the company and on the school level, but also on their governance level. And so we have the Federal Vocational Training Act, which is the legal basis for the enterprise part of the dual system, and we have the School Organization Act and other school acts, which are the legal basis for the schools. So our ministry, which is responsible for the companies, and the Ministry of Education, which is responsible for the school and is the highest school authority in Austria. We have an institutional cooperation system. It's called the Federal Board of Apprenticeship, and in this board there is this is a board for the Ministry of Economy, but in this board there are our ministry, there is the Ministry of Education, and there are the social partners who play a very important role in our governance system. Yes, and this Federal Board of Apprenticeship, and on the regional level we have the Regional Board of Apprenticeship. These boards are the institutional framework within our government system. In this Federal Board we have 6 persons from the employment organization, the Wirtschaftskammer Österreich. And then we have 6 persons from the employee organization, that's the Bundesarbeitskammer, which you have visited before. And then there are 4 persons of the school administration and we, but it's our board.
And in Germany, the following was said.
In Germany, we have the school system, which is in the responsibility of the federal states, and the dual partners organize this by the vocational schools, and the companies take care of the operational part, and the content is provided by the social partners, and we just have to make sure that they keep to the legal regulations provided. School is always a state issue, could be associated with different ministries in different states, for example.
Mr. Vogt of the Chamber of Crafts in Hanover had the following to say about the extensive role that the Chamber plays in artisan training.
We are responsible for the contracts between the apprentices and the companies are appropriate and that the framework conditions are met. We monitor the companies to see if there's an appropriate trainer and how the training is organized within the companies. We ensure in contact with the vocational schools that the cooperation between the school and the company works out well.
The following diagram perhaps describes the Austrian system the best, illustrating the 3 levels: local level, regional, and national levels, which all are in support of the relationship between the company and vocational school, with the Ministry of Economy being responsible for the employers and the Ministry of Education for the vocational schools, or in our terms, the TVET colleges. And in Germany, we were informed as follows.
Well, we have the school acts of the states, which sets out the obligation to go to school. So it's from the federal law. The federal law says that the employers are doing the operational parts and the states do the schools. There is a conference of the cultural ministries in Germany, and they agree on framework curricula for the school part of the education and training. There is a Federal Institute for Vocational Training, which is a research institute by the federal government, which implements the plans, the training plans, but it should concentrate, or it can only concentrate on the operational on the company side. The federal law sets up the framework of what apprentices should learn within the 3 years, and the school does additional education, general education, German, maths, languages, politics, and it does practical and theoretical professional training. So it focuses on getting theoretical and practical knowledge for the students so that they can complete the work after their apprenticeship. Ideally, the learning in the company and the learning in the school are complementary, and that's what we aim for. There is quite different interests ranging from general school education and carries on that companies have it training apprentices, and they want to work as well. They want them to work as well. So it is a conflict that has to be negotiated.
The situation is slightly different in Poland, as illustrated by the representative of the Polish Association of Construction Employers.
Well, this structure is governed by the ministry, in fact. So this is the ministry alone who is responsible for this professional education to be implemented. And they are doing that, of course, with cooperation with NGOs, but our experience shows that the situation in the real life, on the market, develops so quickly. They, in fact, I think that they are a bit detached from that what is going on. And in the end, it creates the situation when the system produces skilled labor force, not necessarily to the profile which is needed by the market.
I would like to conclude and leave you with the following 8 messages.
So they will train if they need the people. And if they really start training their apprentice and they have then a fully skilled worker after 3 years, they have exactly a person who, with their skills, what they need in the company. And in comparison, it's cheaper for them to train their own person than to get a skilled person who is not skilled in the way they need it, and they have to retrain and have to organize and pay the retraining or upskilling of the person totally of themselves.
I think the companies are motivated because they need qualified persons. That's the main interest of a company, and that's also the sense of the system. For the young people, the interest is to have a perspective for their life.
Theoretical knowledge differs from experience. So a collaboration between both parties, the school and the employer, allows to structure up that knowledge and experience. We have to create a group of stakeholders who would wish to collaborate with one another, exchange information very quickly, support each other, and share experience. Only thanks to the existence of such group will we be able to respond to the market needs quickly.
We can generate a layer of workers who are very well trained to the needs of the companies, and that is something which facilitates the matching processes, so that will also make a contribution to reduce unemployment in general.
It's also in the interest of the employer to get some benefit from such a trainee. If I pay a trainee, I should also have something in return, namely the work he performs in my place. Indeed, a very important part that the trade unions and the social stakeholders play is to participate in the reform process. As a social partner, we have to play an important role in seeking solutions to build a quality assurance system. Also to monitor the implementation process of the entire reform.
It is quite a good model. And of course you have to bear in mind that every model is only as good as the people that live it.